Congratulations on the new album. Let's see, it's out tomorrow. Is that right?
I think Friday.
Well, that's Friday.
Oh,
yeah.
for you. Right. Yeah.
It's Thursday here. Yeah,
That's
Friday.
right.
So,
how it works. Yeah.
how are you feeling about it coming out at this time and with the circumstances around everything?
I'm feeling really good. I think it's better than waiting. I mean, it's a bummer that we won't be able to tour it, and there's obviously some worry that it's kind of gonna not quite achieve its potential because of that. But
Right.
all things considered, I think we're really proud of it, and we're just excited to see what people think of it and let it live out there. So,
yeah. And every band is going through the same kind of thing right now, I'm assuming. Well, at least in America, I've seen my British friends are actually starting to play gigs, and I think there were some concerts in New Zealand actually.
Yeah, like I said, we were back to normal for like a month, 2 months, and then we just got locked down again, but it's hopefully only temporary. I was going to shows, and the weird thing is, of course, it's just local stuff because we can't have people coming in from overseas.
right.
Which is good for the local scene, so that's all right.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. When was the last time you guys played out?
Well, we did it like with real people in the crowd.
Yeah.
I think it was a distillery show. We played at a whiskey distillery in like late February, maybe like the first week of March.
Right. So, I mean, you guys are like, what, 23 years old, you're in a rock and roll band, you're up in Seattle, you got a record out, and it must be really frustrating to have to deal with this.
Yeah, it's funny because the timing was interesting because we had a much needed break right before the pandemic hit. So we'd been touring for like 2 years almost constantly. So we were all happy to have a break. And then it just turned into a much longer break.
Yeah.
But all things considered. What, Henry?
I missed the road for sure.
We all started missing it.
I'm sure you did.
The adventure.
So the album itself is called The Shadow, correct?
Yes.
And what is where does that title come from? I know there's a song called The Shadow as well, which is kind of this long 6-minute thing with feedback and distortion and all sorts of cool stuff. So is that why you picked that to kind of highlight?
Yeah, Henry, you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that song itself is just for me, it is an epic. I like songs that have different tempos and that take you on a little journey. With our songs such as Green Fuzz and TV, we really get to look into that sort of a thing, which, bands have been doing since the dawn of time, since classical, the movements. And I always dug, the Who doing some movements of that sort, or so that sort of thing. And then I don't know, the song The Shadow, I don't think lyrically that song started as like, this is going to be the what our album is called, but I think in other songs that we haven't released and that we've been writing, there is this there are these characters, like each song is almost a character or a vignette in some sort of a story that we want to tell in life. So we have other songs called The Eye or The Ripper, which is going to come out on that record. And I think there's something about that when you have the in front of it that I like.
Definitely. Yeah.
So there's that. And then The Shadow kind of is, I feel like it's at the end of the album. It's like the second to last song, and it's kind of this, a bit of a finale. So it's just seemed fitting as well.
Yeah.
And
I love about halfway through the song, you guys just kind of, it does a little breakdown, and then you rock out to the end of it, basically. It's very cool.
Oh yeah. And then it goes back into the first riff, but like 10 BPM slower, which is, you gotta give it to them,
So I wouldn't call you necessarily a psychedelic band, but you definitely draw from that. Where do you get the do you guys listen to like the 13th Floor Elevators all day long or what?
Oh, baby. I remember hearing spinning that record. It's the 13th Floor Elevators record that's in every record shop with the cool trippy thing. I remember like spinning that on the way to rehearsals when we were like 18, 19 and being like, oh, wow, yeah, we already sound like this in essence. I've actually been really, like literally just this weekend diving into like South American psychedelic music. And boy, it is just so great because it's really trippy when you don't understand the words that are being said. And they're really it's about the music and about the way it's recorded, which is beautiful.
Well, let's face it, with the Elevators, you couldn't understand the words anyway. The guy, one of them was blowing into a jug, so there you go.
Yeah, I think we all like psychedelic music overall. It's not like our favorite thing to listen to ever, but we've all gone through phases, and and whether it's like the true psychedelic music or like the weird Devo kind of stuff that's not really psychedelic, but like just weird, kind of robotic. So between all that, I think we get some elements.
Yeah.
But the album kind of kicks off with more of a punky tune, Walk of Doom, which is kind of short and boom, boom, boom. So kind of you think, okay, brace yourself for that, and then you guys definitely head off into different directions. Is that your plan?
Yeah. Well, what, Henry? Go ahead.
I was going to say for me, there is and I read this on a YouTube comment, and it was like, if you want to hear, what was it? A catalog of rock and roll history, spin the whole record. Like this album and this band is like, you got Take a Chance, you got Goddamn, you got High School, Turns Blue. You got kind of a lot of influences of what we can do. Anyway, I just liked that. I was like, oh, I never thought of it like that. But yeah, we try to bring like, what if the Dead Kennedys were around at the same time as the Who, and they were also partying with Devo, and they were smoking weed with Zong, like what would happen? I don't know. That might just be in my head. What were you going to say, Grant?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say that it was kind of planned. Like we had all these songs, and we didn't have them necessarily all assembled from the get-go. We weren't like, this is our package, but we ended up kind of finding a thread between them and kind of putting them together in a way that made sense, even though they're kind of disparate in some elements.
Right.
So it feels like it flows.
Yeah. And as a guitar player, are there guitar players that you kind of are inspired by that got you playing and have a voice in this record?
Yeah, I'd say like that's a great question because there's so many. But I mean, initially,
I'm sure.
Initially, I was a big Jimi Hendrix fan, and then a big Jack White fan. So those are definitely some core elements that I stick with. And then this guy John Dwyer, who's from the OCs, is the band, which is he has a particular guitar style that's kind of experimental and just unique. And so I definitely put a lot of that into my guitar playing. And then Neil Young is my other main.
You can't go wrong with Neil.
You can't. So I love him, and particularly the album Zuma, which has some insane leads on it, really influenced, I think, the past year or two of my playing. Oh, look, there. I didn't know
there
you
he
had
is.
a Neil picture.
My mom ordered that we did a benefit thing for healthcare for musicians, and my mom ordered that from the.
Oh, no way! Awesome.
Yeah. Anyway.
Fantastic. Yeah. So being based in Seattle, I mean, Seattle is known for their music scene, and it's a kind of a changing scene. It's not all grunge and whatever anymore, and sub pop and blah blah blah. And you have Chris from the Decemberists producing the album. So do you kind of fit in with what's going on now, and what did Chris? Two-part question, and what did Chris contribute to the record?
Well, gosh, yeah. I don't know how we fit into the scene. I used to feel like we didn't really, but I've realized over the years that there's kind of these core people who we've now kind of met, most of them, who are just still there. It's like some people come in and go. Right. And there's little microcosm scenes like punk scene and other stuff, and like the hip hop scene, which we aren't involved in. So we're definitely that's another scene that we're not.
Yeah.
part of. But the major like rock, soul scene, I feel like we've been around the block, and we're kind of a core band now, which feels really good. And alongside some other great bands who we are lucky enough to be friends with now.
Such as who?
Like the Black Tones is a great band who's around right now here. There's like this person, Chong the Nomad, who makes great kind of, is a great producer.
Yeah.
There's a few bands a little smaller, like this band, like After House, great band. Henry, any others? There's a bunch. I mean,
let me think. Hang on.
Bear Axe, which
He's got his mouth full.
Yeah. Woman, Shayna Shepherd is a really amazing singer. I'd say she's like the best singer in Seattle. So
okay. I'll check all
her
these
band is
out.
Bear Axe, but I'm not sure if they're still together, what the deal is there. But At the Tongue, she's my friend's band. What, Henry?
Shayna, Bear Axe. Shayna's like a soul church singer, and then they like we met them and they were covering Black Sabbath.
I love it. I love it. That's fantastic.
Yeah. So that's a really good thing that I think is coming into play. People like to rock though. I think people in Seattle are ready to rip and ride.
Right.
Yeah. So
Well,
that's
when you've been kind of cooped up for as long as everyone has, you got to let loose eventually. It's going to have to come out somehow.
Yeah. I'm really excited. I think that comeback, the first tours back, will be really magical and also a little, okay, and then to answer the second part there for Chris, he's definitely, he's still in the Decemberists doing that, which is amazing. And, I don't think any of us were too super familiar with the Decemberists. I think we just liked him as a guy when we met him over the phone.
Right.
And then we liked the records that we'd heard him produce. He's produced a band called Y La Bamba from Portland, and they are amazing and fantastic. We've played Dobe Fest with them, and they're really cool too. So we knew that he could do soft stuff really well. And I think for me, as the bombastic drummer that I am, having a producer that does care about the soft acoustic vocal drum, kind of like Bradford Grant, like just like the instruments as instruments is very important to him. And I thought that really came out in the record. And I thought it's kind of a roll of the dice, but I think he's really going to make our sound shine, because though we are a loud electric rock band, we're also we're analog guys, if you will.
Yeah. Tone heads too. We like to dial in the tones and get those nice timbres and
call up Dan Aykroyd. It's Return to the Toneheads.
We'll get him on the horn. Very good.
Yeah.
Chris was amazing. He'd be smoking his pipe tobacco with his hat on and his little dog Pengu, little black, cute, adorable dog, and just kind of shooting the shit, very relaxed, but still serious and like, strong personality, but very funny though. So we really had a blast with him. And then also credit to Adam was the engineer he works with, and they're kind of like a dynamic duo together, and also both hilarious. So
And while we're talking about people who aren't among the three of us here, there's a third member of the band that we should note.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Gianni.
Yeah.
Gianni. So, and you guys, do you write together or separately, or how does it work?
Kind of both. It depends. I think moving forward, we're planning on writing more together for our next projects. But in the past, it's kind of shifted where we've often brought in individual ideas that might not be finished, and then we'll arrange together and maybe add a bridge or whatever and augment the idea, but one of us will usually have the first idea. It's not like we're all sitting down in one room and writing a song. We're kind of arranging an idea. So this album is a mix of ideas that originated from one of us. I think there's almost no songs on this one that we just made the three of us together.
Right.
So.
And do each of you have a specific kind of style that you come from that is obvious?
Kind of. I think like we're all capable of overlapping, but
Yeah.
I think our individual songwriting voice is distinctive enough that you could kind of tell in some ways who wrote what. Although I have a habit of this, I think a good habit of hearing like a song Gianni will write, for example, and then kind of making it, giving it its own life in my own head, like basically making it a different song that he imagined,
Right.
because I have some different idea to totally change it up. And sometimes that's causes a little bit of tension because he already has come up with the whole idea. And I'm like, let's just switch this whole thing around and I'm going to sing the chorus and whatever. But it's tended to work out pretty well. So,
Yeah, well, that sounds good. So do you got, there's like 11 tracks on the record. Do you guys have any one or two that particularly stand out that you want to talk about and tell us about down here?
Henry?
Well, the more I listen to, I mean, I love The Shadow. I'm so into the drum tones that we got on there, and it's really fun, and there's some really good fills that land nice. So I love The Shadow. I'll just say that and then Grant.
Very good. Well, I noticed you on Take a Chance, you guys have kind of tapped into the classic stuttering vocal that, it goes back to The Who. So
good point. Yeah, that's a great one. I think that's a very collaborative tune for us. I wrote the verse. Gianni kind of came up with the bass line for the chorus, and we all came up with the vocals for the chorus. And another song. So yeah, that was also kind of a genre twist for us. So was Turns Blue, which was one that Gianni wrote primarily, that is kind of more intimate. And I guess if I had to pick my current favorites, I really like Unpeeled. Is one of my favorite ones, and that I really think it's kind of like more of a mental health exploration song. And I think in the quarantine I connected with it more because the lyrics are like, when you're looking at the ceiling and your mind is unpeeling. It's just kind of like, it kind of resonated once we were all stuck inside, where I was like, gosh, I think a lot of people probably actually feel this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
a planet, which is amazing. Because I've been doing interviews with people in Europe, in the States, Australia, New Zealand, everywhere, and everybody's going through the same thing. It's kind of amazing, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens when it all comes to an end and we kind of go back to whatever it goes back to, because we've all gone through this common experience together. So, especially music-wise, it's going to be real interesting, I think.
Yeah, hopefully bring people together.
My question is, so New Zealand was no cases, right? Kind of the first country that I heard of that was like, okay, no cases. We're gonna get back into show.
We had 100 days with nothing.
Wow.
Dang. Okay, yeah. And then, then it's like, okay, let's open the floodgates, right? Like, let's bring it back. And I'm kind of thinking there's like, America is just that kid in camp who can't get it straight, right? Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah.
Get it together.
Yeah.
So I'm just like my uncle, big music lover, deadhead, goes all over.
Right.
He lives for concerts. He's a school teacher, but all of his vacations are music oriented. And he's like, oh, we're not going. The border from Canada to America, it'll be 2 years, like from now, 2022.
Very possible.
And who knows? But like, oh man.
Yeah. Well, we have online, and there are people who are trying to make it work online. It's not the same thing though, because part of the live music experience is that personal connection that you pick up between the audience and the musician. So
there's something about being in the room, like especially when you're a fan. It's not like random. It's like when you're in the room with your hero,
Yeah.
So powerful.
And speaking of heroes, so you guys are young whippersnappers. Who were your heroes? Who were like the first bands you went to see and first records you bought?
Oh man. I mean, I'll start because it's only up from mine. So I was a big Green Day kid. Jesus of Suburbia. The drums on that record sound so good. And Jesus of Suburbia is another one that was like a 9-minute at rock epic, right?
Right.
And so I love Trey Cool doing the fills and the little drum solos and the transitions, the flawless. You hear that in the Shadow, actually. You know, we do the breaks and the fills.
Right.
So definitely Trey Cool. Like I used to have dreams that like I'd be kicking it with Trey Cool and Travis. You know, like I was like, I wake up like, oh my God, I'm friends with them now, and I was like,
right. Oh,
yeah,
it could happen. It could happen.
I know. I'm waiting for the day. It's something because you always hear about people meeting their heroes all of a sudden. It's like, oh man, I don't know if we'll see what happens, but yeah. So I'll say that.
And Grant,
for me, pretty similar answers to the guitar question. That like Jimi Hendrix was my like first guitar hero, and then Jack White, the White Stripes, the Black Keys I was super into. And then John Dwyer, and then now Neil Young.
There you go.
Hero. Yeah. So pretty similar answer, right?
Not to speak for Gianni, but I know that he learned like every Beatles and Zeppelin song.
Very good.
Like on guitar and bass. And
so,
then
and all that stuff kind of it makes sense when you hear the record because it is a diverse record. There's the psych stuff, there's the mellow stuff, there's the indie stuff, the punk stuff, and all that is incorporated in what you guys listen to. So.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Talking Heads guy too. I'd say.
Yeah. So have you guys seen any of these bands, or are you too young to have done it?
I definitely saw. I actually was lucky enough to see Neil Young last year, which was great. And I've seen Jack White, seen the Black Keys. I haven't seen Hendrix, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen Green Day. You saw Green Day, didn't you, Henry?
Yeah, 2009. Best concert of my life.
There you go.
My life. So good. It was so loud. Oh, and just life changing. I was just like, my body was out of I just couldn't believe the sound. You know.
I love it. Well, see, that's what music has got to do. It's got to change your life, right? You know, I mean, whether you're listening to it or making it or whatever, it's great. So what the record's out tomorrow or the next day for you guys. What's the plan? Is there one?
Good question. I'm just excited to get the playing cards that we made for merch. That's my plan. But for our band, we're trying to just come up with different ways to keep interacting with our fans and keep people invested in our music. So, we're talking to our manager, Shay, who's our kind of number one teammate, about what to do. So I think we're going to all brainstorm and come up with different stuff. And then we're just going to keep working on the next release, which we have no idea. We haven't figured out what exactly we want to do, but we have a lot of ideas floating. So I think just that whenever we can, we're going to just keep playing and try to record. And I think we're going to self-produce the next project as well, which will be quite satisfying. I'm excited for that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys for doing this for me. I much appreciate it. Good luck with the record. Hopefully you'll get down here and play a little bit sometime soon before we all get too old.
Yeah. Thank you, Marty.
All righty. Have a good day.